Howdy and welcome to episode 66 of T-Shirts and Shawls. I'm Karen and today is Thursday, December 13th, 2018. And I finished a sweater, which I will talk all about in just a little bit. But basically I've got a couple of finished objects to talk about today, a few things that I'm knitting, a little bit of stashing that I've been adding, and let you know what's going on with Roundtable Yarns. So we'll go ahead and get started. So, sock arm sweater in worsted weight is done. So I started this the Friday right after Thanksgiving for the Indie Design Gift Along. It was actually that Friday evening because that was when the kickoff happened. And I finished it 11 days later. So I knit a full sweater in 11 days. And after having another sweater project on the needles for over a year, and that one also worsted weight, and then my boxy has been on the needles for less than a year, but still quite a bit. I feel really good to start and finish a sweater project in less than 2 weeks. And I think what really kept me motivated, part of it was because I am doing it for the Indie Design Gift Along. So I wanted to make sure to finish it in the time frame for that, which is still going on right now. It goes through the end of the year, so December 31st. But the other part of it was because, yes, the body of the sweater is nice. I really like the way it's designed, the shaping. It has this hem on the bottom that's got a little split on the side, and then the back is a little bit longer than the front. So the body is really nicely designed and nicely done. But the fun part of the sweater is the sleeves, because you use self-striping yarn, and I really wanted to get to the sleeves because that was kind of the fun part of the sweater. So it kept me moving and motivated to finish the body. And then, because the sleeves are the fun part, you want to finish the sleeves. You want to work on the sleeves, and so you don't have to worry about languishing sweaters because of sleeves. Not that I know anything about that. Anyway, so I didn't need to worry about that because it was fun to actually have the sleeves going. So yeah, it was exciting to have the first sleeve done, and then to go ahead and jump in and get the second sleeve done, and then I had to do the neckband, which sometimes I delay a bit on that, but again, that was the final thing I needed to do before I could wear the sweater, so I jumped in and got that done. So yeah, it was a project that just really motivated me to keep working on it and to keep going. So there is also a fingering weight version, which I know would take a lot longer, at least for me, than 11 days. But at some point I hope to make a fingering weight version. I actually have some of my own self-striping that I want to use for the sleeves in that one. But I think it'll be a little while before I start that one. Anyways, yeah, it's a really fun project. I highly recommend it if you have not made one yet. So the designer has a fingering weight version and a worsted weight version, both in child and adult sizes. So, if you don't want to necessarily knit one for yourself, if you have a child to knit for, then you can find the size that will work for that. The yarn is from Mustache Yarn. She did kits specifically designed for this pattern. And I'm not sure if she still has the kits available on the website, but if you are interested, you should definitely go look and see if she has them available, or keep an eye out for them. I should have double checked that, but anyway, I'll post a link to Mustache in the show notes so you can go check. This is the Hogwarts colorway, so it's got all the houses from Harry Potter. And I also have it in fingering weight, so I can have some socks as well. And then the blue is kind of the same blue in the Ravenclaw. So since I ordered the kit, I ordered a kit for a size large, which gave me 4 skeins of the blue and then 2 skeins of the self-striping. I did not even use the 4th skein of the blue, so I have an entire blue skein left. And then I have, I weighed them, but I forgot to look to see what the weights were. I still have quite a bit of the self-striping left. I think I mentioned this last time. I think what I'm going to do is a matching hat. If you can see, I did go ahead and do solid blue cuffs. rather than keep continuing the self-striping, since I did have so much of the blue left. And again, I didn't even need to break into that 4th skein, and I still have some of the 3rd skein left over. So, so I did not use as much yarn as I got in the kit, which is great because it's beautiful yarn and I will definitely use it for other stuff. I did go ahead, although I did not alternate skeins throughout the body, I did a little bit of alternating. So basically when I was running low on the 1st skein, I started to alternate skeins with the 2nd skein, so there wasn't just a line that specifically divided them. So I just, I probably did maybe 3 or 4 rounds where I did, you know, skein 1, skein 2, skein 1, skein 2, a couple of times to kind of transition into the next skein. And I don't see, please don't tell me if you see one, I don't see any obvious lines that show me where one skein ended and one skein began. So for me, I like that because just to be honest, the idea of just skein management with 2 skeins alternating every other or every round, I don't usually do that because I don't like managing the skeins. So but you know, as I showed you last time in my cardigan where I did the 1 sleeve and had to change skeins, and I have that very clear dividing line. So I probably will do what I did here and start that kind of alternating as I'm ready to begin the next skein, so that way it's not a straight line. Anyway, so yeah, sweater's done. I'm really happy with it. I wore it to the dinner that my knitting guild had this week. So that was kind of its debut wearing. And then wearing it for this episode so you guys can see it. I'm sure it will be getting a lot of wear while the weather is at all cool enough for me to wear it, because I'm just really, really happy with how it turned out. So I do have a couple of other finished projects. I have another brioche hat. So last time I showed you one, oh, got the camera up a little high, so so here's this hat. This is another Leslie Ann Robinson pattern. This is Cobaltoan. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. I will put it in the show notes. But this is a color that is not my normal color. This is more my normal color, blues, and purple, obviously. But I had this yarn, so you can see it better on the inside. I had this yarn from Brazen Stitchery, the District 12 colorway, and I thought, you know what, it would look really great in brioche with an orange, because it's got some oranges in it, and I think that would really be a good contrast and also bring out the orange in it. And so I went to West 7th Wool with a friend, and I'll talk about that in what I'm stashing. And I found this orange from Dream in Color. So this is a DK weight, both of these. So Dream in Color, and I think it was called like Solar Glitter, the colorway. And I thought that would be perfect. I had a picture of the Brazen Stitchery on my phone, but I didn't actually have the yarn with me. And when I brought it home, I think that the orange in the Dream in Color matches almost exactly with the orange in the Brazen Stitchery. So it's like they were meant to be together. So I am thrilled with how this turned out. At first, when I started it, I thought, you know, I'm not really an orange person, so I'm not sure that I'm going to actually wear this myself. I might give it away to somebody. Sorry guys, not giving it away. I'm wearing it myself. I really, really love it. I do have a fair amount of the yarn left over, so it's quite possible that I could either make another one if I truly wanted to give one away, or maybe a cowl or something else. But I think the leftovers need to go together because these 2 yarns really do look absolutely fabulous in the project together. So I'm really happy with this. And then I have another FO. So basically what I am doing is the Indie Design Gift Along has 8 different categories for the types of projects. And there's an extra challenge that you can do, the Opadoo challenge, which I'm pretty sure I mentioned last time, where you can, if you make one project from each of the 8 categories, and you complete that challenge. So the sweater is my garment category. The orange hat is the head category. And then another category is the toys, home, and other category. So there's a pattern that has these little gift bags that you put a beaded design on. So the pattern contains a snowflake that I did, and also a Christmas tree. So if you, and the Christmas tree is like a longer bag. So if you need a longer bag, or you just like the tree better than the snowflake, then you can do that one, or obviously you can do both. I only need to have one bag for the Opadoo challenge. I will probably at some point do the tree because it is really nice. But probably not quite yet, because I still have other projects I need to get done if I want to complete the challenge. So I do still need to put, so there are these eyelets, which this is really dark yarn, so you might not be able to see it, but there's this row of eyelets here. And so the idea is that you put a ribbon in that, and that way you can pull it closed. So this is a gift bag. Started knitting from the top there, and then down at the bottom it's Kitchener together. I actually enjoy doing Kitchener, so I didn't mind doing that at all. And then obviously the beads on just the one side. So I do still need to get a ribbon, so technically it's not finished, but I will get a ribbon at some point. So I picked the yarn from my stash, my leftover stash. I am pretty sure that this is Lorna Lace's Soulmate, which is what I used to make, oh, I should just compare it to the shawl, which is what I used to make my bigger on the inside TARDIS shawl. So it's somewhere on the wall. I've got a bunch of shawls hanging on the wall beside me here, so I'll just find it on the wall and match this up and see if that is indeed what this is. But I'm pretty sure that's what the yarn is. And then these beads, I went through my bead stash, and it was just this little baggie of gold beads. I have no idea where I got them from, and there was no identifying information on them. They are definitely a size 8, which is the size that you use for lace weight yarn, and you can use it for fingering weight yarn, though it's sometimes a little harder to do that because the hole is pretty small. And I don't think they were a very good quality bead, because there were some that were very obviously misshapen, and I don't think the hole was very big at all. So even my super small crochet hook that I use for size 8 beads, that it fit in the hole of the bead, but then when I put the yarn on the crochet hook and tried to pull the yarn through the bead, then it just seemed like it was too big for the hole in the bead. So I wasn't able to do that. So I do have a Flegel beater, which I should have brought it to show you in case you're not familiar with what that is. I do have a Flegel beater, and Luna's over here. See, you can see her little ear there saying hi. And so I used it because it was small enough, but I think that for the yarn it was a little too small, because I think it's the very smallest Flegel beater, and so it was splitting my yarn. I was having a hard time pulling it back through the bead. I finally realized that the beads themselves, like I said, just weren't very good. So if I had a problem with a bead, I just put that bead aside and tried a different one, because it just became a really big struggle. So unfortunately, I chose poorly on the quality of the beads, because it made the project a little bit tougher than it probably should have been. But I really do like the gold against the blue, so so I persisted and I finished, except for the ribbon. So that is 3 of 8 projects for the Opadoo. So I've still got, you know, it's December 13th. I've still got half a month. Hopefully I can finish out the other 5 categories. Wow, okay, that's a lot to do. Hopefully I can finish out the other 5 categories, and I'll talk a little bit about that in what I'm knitting, what I'm planning for doing that. But if not, you know, if I don't, but it would be really nice if I could. But anyway, so there's that little gift bag, and I don't know yet if I'm going to use this as a gift to give to somebody, or if I'm going to keep it for myself. Mostly I just made it to fit the category for the gift along, but it is pretty, and I like it. Oh, the pattern is Cannella, C-A-N-N-E-L-L-A, by Becky Herrick, or Herrick, I think. Anyway, so I will link that in the show notes. So if you want to make this or the one with the tree, you can find that. And that is what I finished. Since I'm working on the Opadoo, octopus Opadoo, I guess that's how you pronounce it. Since I'm working on those projects, I am putting everything else on my needles on hold. So Let Go and Boxy and the socks are all on hold. So I've got 2 new projects that I've started that I'm working on to show you. So in the gift along, 2 of the other categories are shawl or wrap and neck. So although technically both are things you put on your neck, they are 2 separate categories. So my original plan for the shawl was, well, at first I thought maybe I would do one of Leslie Ann Robinson's Brioche Shawls, but I really wanted to have a different designer for each of the 8 projects. I didn't want to repeat designers, and so I'd already picked one of her patterns for the hat. So I thought, okay, I still want to do a Brioche Shawl. So what else is out there with the designer participating in the gift along? And I found this really pretty shawl called Brioche for Tea Time. And it's got different sections, and it's really pretty. And so I thought that's the one that I would make. And then I looked at the pattern, and I realized that the brioche section is all completely charted. There are no written instructions. And normally I am a chart reader. That's how I work. That's what makes sense to me. I prefer to read charts than the written instructions. But for brioche charts, because the symbols are different from what I'm used to, I just have to admit that I looked at the chart and I was like, I feel like I need some time to just sit down with brioche charts and get to know them. But for some reason, it just doesn't quite feel comfortable to me yet. I will do it because I do want to make brioche for tea time. So I will learn about charts, but in this kind of time sensitive situation where I'm on a deadline, I think it would be better if I just kind of picked a different project. So I, again, went back to looking at Brioche Shawls, whose designers are in the gift along, and I found this one called the Evanescence Shawl. And this is one that starts narrow and you widen it, and so it gets almost a triangular type of shape. And then the brioche in it kind of has some waves, not as many as that, but it's a little bit of a wave pattern. So I went ahead and started that. This is the start, so I have quite a bit still to go on this one. I probably should pick a shawl that uses DK or worsted weight, so that way hopefully it would go faster, but no, I picked a fingering weight brioche shawl. Anyway, so this is yarn from Safroni in her ley lined base. I believe the speckly pink one is Melted Popsicle and the purple is Fairy Magic. Pretty sure that's right. Anyway, so that's the yarn. And like I said, I've got a bit to go, but the pattern itself, now I kind of understand why the other pattern is charted, because this pattern is like 20 pages. It is long, but it's not so much that it's like a difficult pattern, just every single row is different and has to be written out. And I could see why, you know, putting that into a chart would definitely condense things. So it looks like a really long pattern, but that's because, you know, every row has the written instructions. So yeah, it is fun so far. Like I said, not very far into it, so I've got quite a bit to go on that one. And I was doing these projects as like pick one and like work completely on it and don't work on anything else, and then move on to the next project. But I got an idea for a project I really wanted to work on, and so I went ahead and started another one for the neck category. So originally I had another brioche, because kind of feel, you know, almost everything is brioche for me these days. A really pretty brioche pattern, and it's one that, again, after the gift along, I do definitely want to work on it. So I will get to it after the gift along. But this time I was going through my stash and I found some mini skeins. And I thought, you know what, I really like some of the Advent projects that people are doing with their mini skeins. But I've already got the wrap category, the shawl and wrap category, and then Amba O'Brien has I think it's Adventurous, but it's an Advent cowl. I will link to it in the show notes. And so I thought, oh, I really want to make that with some of my minis, and so that's what I'm gonna do, but only if she's in the gift along. And I went and checked the gift along, and yes, she is in the gift along, so this pattern counts. So excited about that because I really wanted to jump in with this. So this is going to be a little bit crinkly because this is in plastic. I'll try to keep that to a minimum. But I think it was this past DFW Fiber Fest, I bought this mini skein set from Teeny Button Studio. She does a lot of Harry Potter things, so this is the Diagon Alley set. So one of them I've already taken out and started using. So that's the mini set that's in there, and these are really small minis. I think they're 10 grams. Yeah, 10 grams each. So that's about what I need for this pattern, and so I thought that was great, but that wasn't quite enough, just that little packet of mini skeins. And then I had completely forgotten that I had these random Mad Tosh minis, and just a few of them, 4 of them, so 2 of them I've already wound up, and then these 2. And I thought that these more solid ones and all of these and this Harry Potter one really, I thought, worked well together, and so I thought this is the project that I want to do. This is the yarn I want to use it with. This gives me 11, and technically I need 12 for the pattern, so I will probably find some other mini skeins somewhere to add in. Anyway, so I just got really excited about this and really wanted to do it, so I'm really glad that Amba is in the gift along, so that way I can actually do it and feel like I'm still working on the gift along. So it starts off with a provisional cast on, and then it's knit flat, so that way at the end you join the ends to get the cowl. And let me show you, make sure I'm showing you the right side. So it kind of gives this little zigzag effect, and then when I join the other side, it'll kind of go back in in that pattern and make it a nice circle. It is knit on the bias, so it is going to kind of go, the pattern itself is going to go sideways a little bit. I just started this last night, so I feel like for starting it last night, I got pretty far on it. But I definitely have a bit of a ways to go on it. But again, this is not a full wrap. This is a cowl, and I am planning on knitting the shorter one, which uses 12 colors. The longer one uses 24. So it is already moving along pretty quickly, and now that I'm getting used to the pattern, it should move along even quicker. I did sit down last night and plan out the order of the colors, so that way I would know what's coming next. So I think this will start moving. I did run into an issue with this, just I guess motion memory type of thing. So there's a part in it where you yarn over and then slip knit, and I think I've just brioched a bit too much lately because I was trying to yarn over and slip and then knit the next stitch rather than slip the the usual slip knit decrease. I was yarn over, slip, and then knit the next stitch. So I had that yarn over and that slip together, that little paired stitch like you do with brioche. That motion just felt completely natural to me. And doing the yarn over and then the decrease slip knit, that actually took some brain. I had to actually sit there and really concentrate and think on that row. Fortunately, it's just one row. Each pattern repeat does that. But I couldn't believe how quickly apparently my hands have just gotten used to doing that brioche move with the yarn over and the slip, and then either knit or purl. Yeah, so apparently maybe I've been brioching too much for other types of projects. So it'll be interesting, since I am working on a brioche project and this one at the same time. I might run into that issue again when I get to that row. But I just thought that was kind of a fun, almost a little annoying, because like I said, I had to really concentrate on that row. in order to do it right. And at one point I had to work back and think back because I had messed up, and sure enough, it turns out that that's what I did, and I didn't catch it. So anyway, so yeah, apparently I've been brioching a bit too much. So I finished 3 of the 8 projects. This will be 4 and 5. So 6, 7, 8. For the baby category, I plan on doing a baby hat, which, I mean, should go pretty quickly, I hope. Maybe I should just go ahead and finish that. I'm doing a worsted weight one, so definitely really quickly. So I should probably just go ahead and finish that so I can kind of check that box. For the hands category, I'm doing the Rapunzel mitten, which is a pretty basic stockinette mitten, and then you've got this 3-stitch section that you drop the stitches and then chain back up with a crochet hook, just 1 stitch. So you drop 3 and then chain 1 back up, and it creates this really neat patterning along the edge on each side. So I'm thinking those will be pretty quick. I'm hoping they'll be pretty quick. And then for the feet category, I'm doing some worsted weight slippers. So again, hopefully that will be pretty quick too. I think the biggest thing with those are since both of them are pairs, then you know, I have to knit 2 of each mitt and 2 of the slippers. Whereas like with the bag, it was really easy because it was just 1. I didn't have to knit a pair. But hopefully those are quicker projects. Again, maybe I should go ahead and do at least 1 of those, just to, again, check off another box, get to that halfway point, you know, 4 out of 8 projects. So maybe I'll do that this weekend. But I'm definitely enjoying these 2. And like I said, if I don't get done in time, I don't get done in time. But it would be fun to be able to do it and complete it, especially with a full adult-sized sweater. So that is what I'm working on and what I will be working on through the end of the year. So I have some yarn that I've added to my stash that I get to share with you. So the Stitch and Shop event, the little pop-up Saturday after kind of late morning, early afternoon event, went really well. One of the other dyers there was a new dyer. She just started dyeing earlier this year. And she's actually also, she and her mom are a member of my knitting guild. So her yarn is under Serenity Fibers. And so I was set up like right across from her. So we got to chat during the event, and she had gorgeous yarn, and this one had to come home with me. So I really like it. It's called Cyberpunk. So we did that. And then that same weekend, Yarn Carnival was at West 7th Wool. And so after the Stitch and Shop event, hang on, looks like Luna had grabbed something to eat. I think it's a little bit of grass. Anyway, after the Stitch and Shop event, a friend and I thought maybe we would go over to West 7th Wool and do some shopping there, but then we decided, oh, I'm kind of tired, maybe not. So the next day, Sunday, is my Sunday knitting group that I go to, and that friend also goes to that one. And Yarn Carnival was still at West 7th on Sunday. And so we're sitting there at the knitting group, and she really has been doing a lot of projects where you take one yarn and hold it together with another yarn that has mohair in it. I think she's doing that wrap pattern as a wrap, similar to what I'm doing with the cowl. And she's doing that and holding the mohair strand. So she really wanted to get some yarn that she had seen at West 7th Wool that she didn't get last time that had the mohair, so she could do the project. And I have to admit, you know, I really like Yarn Carnival. I really like to see them. So it didn't really take much arm twisting to basically, after the knitting group, drive over to West 7th Wool and do a little bit of shopping. That is where I picked up the orange skein that I used for this hat. So I was purposely going to look for that orange skein. And unfortunately, Yarn Carnival didn't have quite the yarn color that I wanted for that, but I did find other Yarn Carnival. So my eye just kept getting drawn to this, which hopefully you can see. all the different colors that are in there on the camera. So lots and lots of different colors. I really, really wanted this. And there was another yarn that was kind of this, this color in here, that really dark color, that was close to that. Actually, I think it matched it perfectly. Matt said that it was designed actually to go specifically with this. But since this itself is kind of dark, and I was pretty sure that I want to use this for brioche, because, you know, what else am I going to do these days? I needed to get something that was a better contrast, and so instead of that darker color, I went lighter. So kind of a light gray, but it's also got some depth of color in there. It's not just a solid light gray. There's some kind of almost toward the brownish type of thing that you see in this one. So I think that should be good enough contrast for a brioche project. This may be brioche for tea time, since I'm using the yarn that I had planned to use for that in the Evanescence shawl, so that may be what this becomes, or this may become something else. There are a couple of other brioche shawls that I had on my radar that the designers aren't in the gift along, so I couldn't do it for the gift along, but after the gift along, it's fair game. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be something brioche. So that's what I got at West 7th Wool. And then in the mail, I had ordered some yarn for, I didn't do very much, kind of Black Friday, that whole weekend shopping, but Eat, Sleep, Knit has this thing that they do where when you make an order, at the end of your order, you find out your discount that you get, and it could be 10% or it could be 100%. So you could actually get your order for free, but you don't find out until after you place your order. So, I mean, if you make a really small order and you get the 100% discount, then, you know, you get that for free. If you make a giant order, you could get the 100% discount, and that would be awesome. Or maybe the 10% discount, which is still good. But you don't know until you've ordered. And so I was looking around, and I was actually looking at Dream in Color, which, since I've been buying a lot of Dream in Color lately, apparently that has become one of my new favorites. So I was looking at the Dream in Color, and I was thinking brioche. Carissa Browning has this brioche cowl pattern, that the name of which just, as soon as I said that, escaped me. But it's really nice worsted weight. It has two different versions. I will link to that in the show notes. I'm writing my, link to Carissa's pattern. So I'm planning on doing that pattern. And so I wanted to get some yarn for it. And so I was kind of looking at the worsted weight yarns. And I saw this, which normally I wouldn't necessarily grab because it wouldn't be my go-to, but I think paired with something else, it'll work really well with brioche. But it was the name that really got me. So the name is Awesome Wow, which if you are a Hamilton fan, you will get that reference. So honestly, this one I bought, the look is fine, but really it was the name that sold me. And then I got this gorgeous blue called Bedtime. I think that will brioche really nicely together. This has got some blues and purples in it. So that is what I'm planning on putting together to make the pattern, whose name I still can't remember, by Carissa Browning, the really neat cowl. So I've got that. And then I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. But again, this one, the name is what got me. This one is called Burr. So Aaron Burr, again, Hamilton reference. So, you know, especially since there was a discount and there was a possibility that I could have gotten up to 100% discount, I just threw it in my cart as well. Not sure yet what I'm going to do with it. My discount ended up being 10%, which again, it's great. So darn, didn't get the 100% discount. But yeah, so I got two colors basically because they have Hamilton references. But again, I think those two will work really nicely together. So that's some stash. And then I have one more thing. So this past Tuesday, my knitting guild had our annual holiday dinner. And one of the things we do is a gift exchange. And it's one of those gift exchanges where the first person that goes picks a gift. So everyone wraps a gift and brings it. And the first person that goes picks one of the wrapped gifts and opens it. And then the second person can either steal that first person's gift or go unwrap another gift. And then if that person chooses to unwrap, then the next person gets the choice. If that person chooses to steal, then the person whose gift has been stolen gets to either steal somebody else's or go unwrap a new gift. So, and you can't steal what just got stolen from you. You can't steal it right back. So I am, in those games, I usually always steal. To be completely honest, well, I mean, there's gorgeous stuff. So, I mean, it wasn't a requirement that you bring like yarn or something that was knitting related, but most of the gifts are. So there's really, gorgeous stuff out there. So of course I'm going to steal it. And I think I stole 4 different things over the course of the game. I think there were about 15 of us playing, between 15 and 20 of us playing. So anyway, so I was like the 6th or 7th person to go. So I was fairly early on. And there was this really pretty Malabrigo skein that somebody had already opened. So when it was my turn, I of course stole that, which I knew I wasn't going to get to keep because it's gorgeous. And so of course it was stolen from me. And so the next thing that I stole was some wool miza. So that was really pretty. It was a really gorgeous color. And I felt a little bad because the person who had opened it said that wool miza was one of her bucket list yarns and she really wanted to work with it. But I mean, if I didn't steal it, someone else is going to. So I went ahead and stole it from her. Sorry. And then it did get stolen from me, so I did not end up with the wool miza. And then there was another yarn that same person had, the Serenity Fibers. There was somebody that had, I don't know if it was actually, she was at the dinner. I don't know if she's the one who brought it or someone else brought it. But 2 skeins of Serenity Fibers. It was gorgeous. So the same person who had the wool miza had opened that. And when it was my turn to steal again, after the wool miza got stolen from me, I stole the Serenity Fibers from her, which again got stolen from me. I did not end up with that. And then one of my friends opened a skein that was, I think it was merino, but it was definitely wool and sea cell, which I have not worked with that combination. And I thought it would actually be a nice thing to work with for the class that I'm teaching about different yarn types. And it was a really pretty color. So I thought, okay, so I'm going to take that. So I stole that. And I thought that's what I was going to end up with because we were kind of getting toward the end of the game. But then somebody stole it from me. And I saw something else that I really liked. I couldn't go back and steal some of the other things that have been stolen because after a certain number of steals, things get frozen. So I probably would have gone back to the wool miza because it was really pretty. Anyway, so I couldn't steal any of those things. And somebody had brought this really pretty blue, which is one of my favorite colors, 100% BFL. Of course I'm going to steal this. There really shouldn't have been a question about that. There are also some stitch markers that are attached here. I guess this comes from Anders Mill. I haven't looked them up. It looks like an Etsy shop, so I'm not sure where they are located. I think the person who brought this said it was from Colorado, but don't quote me on that. I will have to look it up. Anyway, so 100% BFL. It is not superwash. It looks like it's a 2-ply, so I'm not sure yet what I want to do with it, but it really feels nice. I mean, it's not like merino soft, as I mentioned before, and BFL is not, but it feels nice. Not sure what it will become, but it's gorgeous. It's BFL. I had to steal it. And that's what I ended up with. So it was a fun game. You know, getting to, you know, stealing just kind of adds to the fun. I mean, if everyone just chooses to go open up a package, then you get some really wonderful gifts because everyone brings wonderful items. But really the fun of the game is in the stealing. So anyway, so that's what I did this week. And so I've ended up with a fair amount of yarn. Usually I don't have, you know, that much yarn that I buy between episodes, so unless there's like a big event. So it looks like I've stashed quite a bit recently. Some of it used right away. Some of it definitely has projects planned for. Some of it I still have to figure out what I'm going to do with. Yeah, adding lots of pretties to my stash. So with Roundtable Yarns, I am trying something a little bit new tonight. So depending on when this episode goes live, it might be right around the same time as my first shop update. So kind of a planned update. Usually what I do is if I have some yarn that I've dyed and it's ready to go, I list it in the shop and post it right then. Occasionally I announce it on Instagram. Or maybe in the newsletter if it's near a newsletter time, but I really haven't been announcing what's new in the shop, you know, what I've been posting, except possibly, like I said, on Instagram. And I thought, you know, it might be nice that to try out a specific update time so that people who are interested in some of the things, like when I did a very brief run of my red and green Christmas self-striping, because Luke wanted a pair of red and green socks, which I still need to cast on for him. And so I was going to dye it anyway, so I went ahead and dyed 4 skeins, which is a batch of that 2-stripe. And so I sold the 3 extra skeins, and I just posted on Instagram. So I think and so it was just basically whoever was checking Instagram at that time, those are the 3 people who got those 3 skeins. So I thought it might be nice to have a scheduled update time so that people, A, who are not on Instagram and who don't see those posts, and B, who don't, you know, check things, you know, kind of frequently and therefore might miss it, so they can plan and possibly get some things that have been posted to the shop. So I'm going to have my first one tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time. I have a survey in my newsletter that just went out this week asking about days and times for future updates, to see if there's a good time that you guys prefer. If you are subscribed to my mailing list and you have not yet taken that survey, I would really appreciate it if you would click on that link in the newsletter from this week and take the survey. If you're not on my mailing list and you want a link to the survey, send me a PM on Ravelry, Karen Dawn, or you can email me, Karen@roundtableyarns.com, and I'll send you the link to the survey. It would be really helpful just to know, is there a really good time that most people would be able to do an update or prefer to see an update? When I checked shortly after the newsletter went out, I had 7 responses at that point, and each person had picked a different day of the week. So I don't know if there's going to be any type of consensus, or if I'm going to have that completely split. I haven't gone back and checked the survey results to see how I mean, I checked a little later during the day and I had a few more, but again, no day or time has jumped out as like, this is the time that works for a lot of people. So I think I need more data, basically, which is why I'm asking you, if you haven't filled out the survey, please do. So this particular update will have 2 new self-striping colors, and a restock of another self-striping color, and a new color that was a Yarn Club color. The exclusivity period is over, so now it is available outside the Yarn Club. So I forgot to grab the restock, but the restock self-striping is brand The Blessed, which is a dark brown and very, very light brown tan, and a turquoise, a dark turquoise, and a lighter aqua turquoise kind of color, so 4 stripes. So that one, I think when you see the other colors, I had brown on the brain because all of these kind of have brown in them. So that one will be the restock, and then the new colors are this 4-stripe, which when you look at it, you're probably thinking 4-stripe, that just looks like 2 colors. but they really are different colors. The orange is the same. So in your 4 stripes, the first and the third are the orange, so that's the same. But this one is a blue and this one is a brown. But I think the orange just really makes them read almost the same. So it might be a little difficult to see that they are actually different colors. One is blue and one is brown. And it's a brown that is kind of on that orangey kind of spectrum of browns. So I think that the putting it next to the orange maybe makes it not pop out as brown so much. And this is a blue that yeah, like I said, it is really difficult to see that there are 2 different colors there between the oranges. But anyway, so that one is a new one. It is called Lay of the Horn. Lay is a type of story. And you can read, when it goes live, you can read the story behind the name of that one. It's basically a horn that men drink from. And if the horn spills while you're drinking, that means your wife has not been faithful. Anyway, and then the other new color is this one, which again is brown, and that mint. So this one I just kept in my head thinking chocolate mint, because that is what this says to me. And I had the hardest time coming up with a name for this because I really, so I was like, I can't name something chocolate mint because it needs to be Arthurian. So what can I do? And I've spent some time researching names and getting a good list for future colors. Nothing was on that list yet was quite working for me. And finally I decided on Kellawig, which is a place name. And again, you can read about the story behind the name when this goes live. But it's a place that some people have proposed as a Camelot type place. So the place of Arthur's court. So Kellawig is what this one is called. So those are the 2 new self-striping ones. I have 4 skeins each. Again, depending on when this podcast episode goes live, it may be right around the time of the update, and depending on when you watch it, there may or may not still be yarn there. So technically 3 self-striping, 2 new, 1 restock. That's what's going in the update. And then I have the Yarn Club color that is now available outside the club. This is KnitAlong's Misadventure. And it's kind of a really amusing story about this guy who thinks he's going to go on this grand adventure, and he actually challenges the knight and gets beaten up. It is definitely a pink color. Hopefully you can, it doesn't, when I'm looking at the camera right now, it doesn't quite look exactly right, but it is a pink color. This particular one that I pulled is my Cornwall base, which is BFL. So it looks a little bit different on different bases. In this box back here, I have, I don't know if you can see some of the pinks kind of poking through there. I have it on other bases. So for this update, I have it on Cornwall, which is DK weight BFL, Tristan, sport weight, 100% merino, Camelot, which is merino cashmere nylon, fingering weight. I have, I put it on Grail, which I still need to reskein, so hopefully I can do that in time and make it for the update at 6 o'clock. I should be able to have time to do that. On Grail, on, what else did I put it on? I put it on Camelot, Tristan, Grail, Cornwall, and I did 1 skein of Isolde, the lace weight. There's another one. There's one more. Which base did I put it on? I'm looking around at all my bases. I think there was a 4th base that I put it on. Maybe not, or a 5th base. Anyway, point being, a couple of different bases this color will be on, and now it is an official regular color. So if you do want it on a base that I don't yet have it dyed on, then you'll be able to order it through the custom order. Oh, I need to write myself a note to add that to the list of options for custom orders. So add KnitAlong's Misadventure to custom orders. Okay, I need to make sure that, like, whenever I add new colors, that I have that, my little checklist of when I add new colors, that I do that. That was just a little note to myself. Sorry about that. Anyway, so that's a new color. There are 2 other Yarn Club colors that the exclusivity period has ended that may go into regular rotation. One of them is called This Little Ring of Mine, and it's a kind of a goldeny color. It's similar to Evane, but it does have some differences. I think I'm gonna dye it on at least maybe some other bases and compare it to Evane, and if it's too close to Evane, I may not offer it regularly, but if there's enough of a difference, I may add it in. And then there's another one called Defender of the Fountain, which is a blue color, and that one I probably will go ahead and add in. And then there are two more, because there's one that was a special base, and so it was the base that was more special than necessarily the color on that one. But there's another one called Lunette's Plight, which is a purple. That one is still in the exclusivity period, but I will release that when that exclusivity is over. And the other one is kind of an orangey, would you say butterscotch? I don't know. But definitely kind of in the orangey family, called Caught in a Trap. And so again, once that exclusivity period is over, I will be adding that one. So a few new colorways will be coming out. I think there are other colors that I've kind of developed over, the course of the past year or two that I've put aside, and I have like potential colors for a club and that I haven't used, and I might go ahead and release some of those, and just have regular releases, because it's been a while since I've released a new color that has not been from a club. So I may do some new colors that way. I have a whole list of self-striping colors that I want to work on, so I will hopefully be dyeing some more of those. Now that I can use my circular sock machine to quickly do samples and I don't have to knit them myself, then I don't have to like wait to release something until I've knit at least enough of a sample to show what the colors look like. These guys still need to be finished. So there's my waste yarn in there. And waste yarn on this side as well. So both of these still need to be finished, but definitely if they were finished enough to be able to take pictures. So it was nice to be able to just put them on the circular sock machine, crank some rounds, do that hung hem to get that folded over edge, and have a sample. I mean, that's kind of the point of why I bought the circular sock machine. So that was nice to be able to do that basically in an hour, these two samples. So anyway, any other Roundtable Yarns news? I think that's, checking my notes, I think that's pretty much the basics. So depending on when you watch this, when it gets uploaded and when you watch it, you might be able to make it in time for that 6 o'clock update tonight. I don't know if these new colors will sell out. I don't know how, what you guys think of them. So maybe if they haven't sold out, they'll still be available. Or the new Clockernauts Misadventure. Anyway, so I think that's kind of what's going on with Roundtable Yarns. I'm working on planning and updating and adding some new things. So I hope you are working on your shawl for the KnitAlong/CrochetAlong for this quarter. You have until the end of the month, which is the end of the year, the end of the quarter, to finish if you have not yet finished. It is any shawl that uses yarn that was in your stash before October 1st. So as long as it was in your stash, you're good. As long as it's a shawl, you're good. We've got some really gorgeous FOs. I'm pretty sure that the first couple I've already showed on the podcast, but just to make absolutely sure, I will show them off again. So A Simple Motif did this mystery knit along from Boo Knits, which is just gorgeous. And then there was somebody in my knitting guild who also did this knit along, and she brought her shawl to the last guild meeting, and yeah, it's just absolutely stunning. S. Martiche did the Irish Moss Shawl. Wow, that's hard to say. With the oldest yarn in her stash, which is a fabulous idea. So there's that one, really pretty. Then Kat C did Darkness Falls with some of the oldest yarn in her stash, 2014. So that's really pretty. I'm pretty sure those are the ones that I've shown. And then I Know I Now Our. I think that's how the username is. I used yarn that had been in my stash a long time to make this shawl. So it's got some nice patterning going on there. And then also used yarn that had been in her stash for a while for that shawl. So 2 entries. And then Summer White, who was really Lindsay, name just throws me every time, knit The Force Awakened, which is an Anna Victoria shawl with beads, so you can't necessarily see the beads there, but that gorgeous, stunning lace shawls. So we've got some wonderful lace shawls. We've got some great pretty colors, and yarn that was stash yarn gets used up, especially some of the oldest in the stash. It's really fabulous to see those. So if you are working on yours, you can post in the chat thread, let us know you're working on it, and then don't forget to post in the FO thread by the end of the month, December 31st. And I finally picked out the prize for this quarter. I had told you guys last time, or maybe the time before, that I wanted to take some of my hand spun. So technically it's yarn in my stash, my hand spun stash, and that I wanted to offer that as a prize. So I finally picked. It was really hard because I realized that I really like the hand spun that I've got in there. I need to actually use it. So it was very hard to choose something that I didn't want to keep for myself. But I thought, you know what? I want to choose something that I want to keep for myself because it's a prize and it deserves to be something really great. So I have a hard time letting this go, but I'm going to sacrifice it and let this be the prize. So this is some yarn that I spun a few years back out of some fiber from a dyer called Fat Cat Knits. This is a blend of merino, bamboo, and nylon. So it has a lot of drape. You can kind of tell just from the skein itself, there's a lot of drape. It is a 2-ply, about fingering weight. So this would be great as a smaller shawl. It's I don't have the exact yardage. I did not write that down. But it's probably going to be in the realm of about 400 yards. It's probably a thicker fingering weight. So, you know, a smaller shawl or some type of cowl or something that is very drapey. That's what you would probably want to do with this if you win this yarn. So I'm sad to see this go, but it also has been in my stash for a while. So maybe whoever wins this will decide that it needs to get used and won't sit around in the stash. But if it does sit around in your stash, that's okay too. But anyway, so this is going to be the prize for this quarter's knit along. Somebody from the FO thread, whether it's somebody who's already posted or somebody who has still yet to post, will win this yarn. So so I hope you like it. Like I said, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, do I really want to give that away? Yes, I do. I will give it away. So yeah, so that will be the prize for the knit along. And then since it's the 13th, probably kind of thinking about with the holidays, I want to make sure that we post the poll for the theme for the next quarter's knit along, the first quarter of 2019. I can't believe we're saying 2019. I'm thinking, but I will let you guys decide, I'm thinking it's probably about time to do one of those any projects. So instead of specifically being a shawl, one quarter we did we still had a theme, but it was any project that met that theme, not necessarily a shawl. I think it's probably about time to open that up again and do an any project, but I still would like a theme. I don't want it to just be any random project. So some type of theme, any project. So if you're good with that, I think that's what we'll do for the first quarter, but we'll still vote on the theme. So any project that does X. I will post that probably in another week or so, post the nominations thread, and then voting. So look for that in the Ravelry group. So anyway, I hope you are, thank you so much for those of you who've already participated and posted your FOs. I should probably post my FO. My Sizzle Pop was my, I actually finished it well ahead of the quarter. That was my FO for this quarter's knit along. Anyway, so make sure you get in there by the end of the year. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so very much for watching. Please come over to the Ravelry group and post in the discussion thread. Let me know what you thought about the episode. If you think I'm crazy for doing the 8 project challenge for the gift along, if you think I'm going to make it or not. Let me know what you're working on, and then also if you want to post here on YouTube, post a comment, feel free to do that as well. I love hearing from you, so I definitely appreciate that whenever you post a comment, whichever place you post it. So please post here, come over to the Ravelry group and post there, participate in the KnitAlong or CrochetAlong. And I think 2 weeks is a little bit after Christmas. We may be having company. We haven't. We know that Jarrett's family is going to be coming up sometime after Christmas, but we don't have specific dates yet. So I'm not sure yet if I will be having company in 2 weeks, and therefore probably shouldn't sit down and seclude myself and record a podcast. So I may be back in 2 weeks. It may be a little bit longer before I have another episode, but I hope whatever happens, you have happy holidays, whichever holiday you celebrate, and come over to the Ravelry group and we'll chat. Until next time, happy knitting!